man. Welcome to the Developmental Focus Point. I'm your host, Bo Scarbrough, two-time national champion. And with me, as always, my three legends, Blake Sim, Trent Richardson, and Christion Jones. And tonight, we have a very special guest, one of the guys that started the Coach Saban era stable of running backs, the best outside zone runner that we had that come through Alabama. One of the greats to ever do it, Glen Coffee. How you doing, Glen?
I'm good, man. I'm good, man. Thanks for having me on.
Make sure y'all hit that like and subscribe button. We will really appreciate that.
This right here, man, I think each show for me, man, get more special and special, man, because we bring on guys that has been dearly to my career. Helped me through my career, my Bama days, even beyond that, even before that. So to have Glen Coffee on here, y'all, the stuff that this man has done for me, bro, my family, bro, I can never repay this man just for the challenge. Even playing ball against his little brother, he always battled, and he kept me at the top of my game too, whether it was weightlifting competitions or wherever, track. So it's a lot of my career as far as the opportunity that I got, the motivation that I got. I owe it to these guys like him and Ted Grant and Rob Church, the guys that came before me, man. So, man, it's a treat for me to have you on here, Glen. Man, I appreciate you for coming on, big bro.
We just appreciate you coming on, man, and being able to tell the world your story. Some of these young guys out here, man, they don't actually know the real world after sports, and some guys be lost after they don't get drafted and they don't get invited to OTAs, and they don't know what next, and they don't know how to rely upon their degree or get into a field that they really want to get into.
Right.
And I know that you were one of the guys that once you made up your mind, you did exactly what you said you were going to do. I just want you to share your story about that it's not all about just football.
I think that as athletes, and this goes for a lot of people, not just athletes, but especially for athletes, I don't think we really taught to look within ourselves and find out who we truly is and what we truly want out of life. Because it's easy when you bigger, stronger, faster than everybody to say, I want to play in the NFL, or I want to be an athlete, or I want to be this all-star player, or I want to do this, that, and the third as far as using your body. Because at the end of the day, either you got it or you don't. Now, of course, some people can work harder than others and go beyond what their genetics give them, but it's a lot of guys who are in the NFL because of their genetics. You know what I'm saying? And so when you're able to put all your eggs in that one basket, and that one basket, that one basket is able to give you millions of dollars or give you what you consider is your dream, you're not looking nowhere else. You know what I'm saying? Whereas a lot of other people who are not athletes, they taught that you got to know a little bit of this. You got to know a little bit of that. You got to work hard over here. You got to work hard over there. And so they're able to look at life in a multifaceted way. Whereas athletes, we only looking, I'm going to be in the NFL. I'm going to be in the NBA. You know what I'm saying? I'm going to play baseball. And that's all we focus on. And so for a lot of guys, by the time they realize that the real world is different, they had already spent 25, 30, 35 years chasing that dream. You know what I'm saying? So in a lot of ways, I feel like athletes is behind the 8 ball when it comes to life in general.
Glen, we're from the same area. We from the Gulf Coast. I grew up in the projects out there and played at the Boys and Girls Club almost every day. But coming from where we came from, man, you was one of the first ones, besides Emmett, to sign a real a D1 scholarship. So when that happened, man, like your last year in school, bro, you put the world on notice that, hey, Pensacola or Gulf Coast is where it's at. For you to go and do that, man, at a different level. Because you had the DJ Hall come in, which you had to keep around too. But you did what you did, and you changed the game for Bama when it came to backs and how they recruited backs. And then you wore that number 38. I ain't never seen nobody wear that 38. And I ain't never seen nobody wear it after you and made 38 look as good as you did, man. Just with your brand within itself, man, you had a different mindset, man. Like, where did that mindset come from?
I knew that I had to do something because when I first got to Bama, I was behind Kenneth Darby, right?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And as a freshman, I had to beat out Roy Upchurch. I had to beat out Roy. So Roy ain't want to block. Roy was nasty with that football in his hands, but he didn't want to block. So I said, okay, you know, I ain't trying to compete with him necessarily, you know, talent-wise, because Roy could do it all. So I said, okay, I'm going to block. I'm going to learn all the plays. I'm not going to make any mistakes. And so because of that, I ended up being second string. So the following year, I'm second string again. And then Terry Grant hit the scene and take my spot, right? Yeah. So it's my third year on campus. I'm a redshirt sophomore. And for the first time in my life, I'm like, damn, I ain't got no plans. Now I was supposed to be all SEC running back. You know, the NFL was supposed to already be looking at me with my third year on campus, but I found myself second string behind a freshman. And then Jimmy Johns take my second string spot. So now I'm third string, right? So I said something had to shake. I knew that my mind was the quickest thing I could change. Because if you run a 4.4, you're not going to run a 4.2. You know what I'm saying? If you only benching 200 pounds, you're not just going to all of a sudden bench 350 pounds. But I knew my mind I could switch on. And when I switched my mind on, that's when I kind of started to hear Coach Saban when he'd say, dominate your box, control what you can control, you know what I'm saying, impose your will on your opponent. And so I started out of my running style after that. To answer your question, I knew I had to change something to get on that field. And so I said, I'm just going to get nasty. I'm going to turn into a dog out there. So that's kind of how that started.
Man, Glenn, my story
Go ahead,
with you, Glenn, is Coach Burns used to talk about you all the time. And I think two different pictures of you hanging on the whiteboard, man. And he say, Blake, you acting like this one. I need you to start acting like this one. Or if it was him talking about how your steps was and how smooth you was running north gut or south gut, or just like how you used to read the end man on the line of scrimmage. That was the defense end on North Storm and South Storm. So my question to you is like, what's your message to the young kids right now? Like, what are you telling these young kids as you talk to them?
You got to, when somebody trying to tell you something, you got to listen and really focus, and you got to really do what this person is asking you to do. And that goes for in the classroom, that goes for on the practice field, during the game. I feel like a lot of these kids, they taught that if they just act out, and by act out, I don't mean be bad. By act out, I mean, you know, if I just show out, I'm going to get what I want out of life. And that ain't the case. Like, you got to do the little things as well as the big things to get ahead in life. I see kids get coached nowadays, right? And like the coach will be trying to get them to understand something. And I know that kid is not really hearing what the coach is trying to say. They think the coach is coaching. They think he just talking down on me. But in reality, he's trying to make you a better player. To anybody listening, you got to do the little things, and it's a process to everything. Because y'all already know Coach Saban, it's a process, it's a process, it's a process. So what does that mean? What does it mean when Coach Saban say you got to trust the process? It means you got to trust every step. You got to do step 1 right before you even think about step 5. You know, you got to do step 3 right before you go to step 4. And so I think trusting the little things in life and trusting the process is like.
Glenn, I seen, speaking of the process, right? Your last year in school, bro, y'all playing against Kentucky, and I was getting recruited. I remember this game like it was yesterday, and all us down there, me, DJ Fluke, and Kirkpatrick, AJ, McCann, all us is down there. All the ones that, you know, supposed to be coming to Bama. And it was wet that day. It was raining, and you fumbled twice. You fumbled one time, it rolled straight down the dang sideline for like 40 yards. It stayed in bounds. And I remember like you was tapping your helmet like, damn, like I need to get right. Whatever you said to yourself or whoever said something to you, pulled you aside, whatever clicked on in your head, you came back and struck for like 80-something yards. And you could see everybody said, Juice gonna do it. Juice gonna do it. I'm sitting there like, Juice, what they talking about, Juice? Saying Juice for the strikeout. And I think it might have been right up the middle too. Then you came back the next drive and ran the outside zone. It might have been South Storm and took it for like another 60. And it was just like, bro, like his composure, like that process, like his will to not give up, not give in, like that mindset. Where did that mindset come from? And does that get ingrained into you when Burns get there? Or did you always think like that, never to let up?
Man, I ain't gonna lie, bro. I came up with some situations as a kid that kind of put me in some extremes, and not in a good way. And I feel like that kind of molded that side of me. Because I'll be honest, it was a while that I didn't really care about life at a young age, you feel me? And I've learned through that and through researching other stuff that it's so many people that is who they is because of that pain they experience. Think about somebody who ain't never been through nothing. You can see it on them. You can smell them. You don't even want to really like deal with them because you know he ain't got no substance. I think that side of me, as far as not having the will to quit. My dad wrote a book, and I was supposed to help him write it, but I only wrote mostly like the foreword and the epilogue, right? And I think the first sentence that I wrote is, I wonder if I've been a quitter all my life. There's that side of me, but there's that other side that knows that, I don't know, it just ain't in me, bro. From the pain, it's really from that pain is where that comes from. To answer your question, it's from that pain. To know that if you're not gonna die, then you got another step you can take. You're not gonna die, then that means you got to do something to live. And I think that's on the football field, I think it came out like that. Because like I said, bro, I was third string, bro. My third year on campus, I was third string. And then the next year, I'm in the league. I'm getting drafted third round, you feel me? Like, my whole life has always been extremes like that.
I had a quick question for you. You know, playing at Alabama, we all know about the pressures of playing for Nick Saban. But I want to look at the pressure of carrying the weight, like Trent said, of being the first person from your area getting D1 scholarship, getting to Alabama, carrying on the tradition of running back you. You know, we were searching for someone since Sean Alexander to really take things over in that position. But also, too, a lot of Alabama fans don't really understand the atmosphere back in that time.
Yeah.
We were trying to transition out of a very bad period. A lot of the newbies don't understand what it was like. So what was it like for you carrying the weight of being the first person from your area getting a D1 scholarship, carrying on that tradition, being the guy that we're looking to light that fire again, but also kind of navigate us out of that era of probation, scandal, and all that?
I mean, it was wild because it was to the point, y'all ain't gonna, you know, I don't know if nobody told y'all it was just bad, but like it was to the point to where like teams expected to beat us. Teams in the SEC expected to beat us. You know what I'm saying? Like, I know that's crazy when you think about it now, but it was really like that back then. And so, you know, my first 2 years was with Shula, and then my second 2 was with Saban. So Shula kind of approached us like we already had things in order. And so his coaching style was kind of like what you expect out of NFL coaches. He'll talk and he expect us to do it. Well, the SEC don't go down like that. Y'all already know that. It's him smacking all game long. So your little coaching words ain't, your coaching points can't just be coaching points. Like, we got to feel it in you as a coach. And so when Saban showed up, bro, we felt like we was going to war. That whole mentality is just kind of what I piggybacked off of, because my mind is a straight and narrow process type mind. I'm really like black and white, you know. I'm very logical. I can be eclectic, but I'm very logical. Saban would say stuff, it's like, okay, he know what it means to pick up your lunch pail and make something happen. That's kind of where that stemmed from.
Give the people a little bit about being in the service, how it all started.
I'm gonna keep it real. I only played in the NFL for a year, right? And it wasn't for me.
Do you mind telling them the story that you told me earlier when you was in the locker room?
Yeah,
you
about you being in the locker room. Yeah, you got to hear the whole story out.
It's layers.
Yeah. I thought you were gonna go straight into the service, but I wanted people to hear that part, how it can get to how people mind can change so fast.
I quit the NFL and I sat on my money, right? I really didn't do nothing. I had too much pride to get what I called a regular job at the time, right? So I sat on my money, played Call of Duty, and how I kept my sanity, I told myself I was going to box, but I'd play around, you know what I'm saying? I'd be in the streets, box, do whatever. Some years go by, I see my money dwindling, and I'm like, I got to do something. But I still wanted that challenge. It was a little bit of patriotism involved. And so I said, you know what? I'm going to join the Army. I'm going to be Special Forces, because can't everybody be Special Forces? And I still had that athlete mentality, you know what I'm saying? Everybody can't do it, so I knew I might as well do it. So I got into the military. So back before that, I'm in the NFL. My rookie season had went by, and we in spring ball. I had got up to like 215, 218. I'm solid. Biggest I've ever been in my life. I said, I'm going to take over this year. I'm going to take my second year in the league. I'm taking over. But at the same time, I didn't want to play football no more. If you remember, I had 1 year left at Bama. Trent, I know you know this. I had 1 year left at Bama. I said, I don't want to play ball no more. So I might as well get paid to play. So I go to the NFL. I get that check. I get that money. And at first it was cool. But then I started to wake up with this thought in my head. You young, you handsome, and you got money. And to cope with me not wanting to be in the NFL, I started to try to take on that persona. And so I felt myself changing. So I said, you know what? Something got to shake. I don't want to do this no more. But who going to quit the NFL? Who going to give up all that money? Who going to give up the potential fame and all that come with it, right? So it's spring ball. It's not spring ball, but fall camp. It's fall camp, and everybody, I'm fully dressed. I got my tape on my ankles. I got my tape on my cleats. I'm spattered up. I'm ready to go. So everybody start walking outside, and I'm sitting on. And I have this thought in my head. I looked down at my cleats, and I said, I need something to happen for me not to go out to practice. I want to go out to practice, but I don't know how to do that. So I told myself, I said, if I cut this tape off my cleats, I ain't going out to practice. So I sat there for about 5 minutes, 10 minutes, staring at my cleats. And when I cut the tape off, I was gone. I went home. They hit me up. They said, Glenn, what's up? You know, where you at? I said, I'm at home. And they came to visit me. And that's how that happened. Boy, you say it like it's a positive thing, which life is a double-edged sword. A lot of times your biggest strength is your biggest weakness. My biggest strength is whenever I want to do something, when I make up my mind, I'm going to do it.
Yeah.
But it's also become my biggest weakness too. Because there's some things I'm like, damn, why I did that?
That's what I always liked it about you, you know, from the first day that we met. Everything that you told me that you were going to do, you did it. This is a guy that whatever he say he going to do, he going to do it. I appreciate the relationship that I have with Glenn, man, because of that 30-minute conversation we had a couple of days ago. Man, you really had me like I told you, like I said, man, I never even thought about it that way. And you were like, yeah, man, you gotta look at it in a different type of way. And it made me start to, you know, think different just off a 30-minute conversation that we had. It's just an honor and a blessing to be able to connect with guys like you and Trent and Christion Jones and Blake, man, because, you know, we all have different personalities. We can all help each other out in all different type of ways. And that's what I like about the culture at Alabama is when once you there, you're a family. Like, you gonna know everybody, you know what I'm saying, on the team. And no matter if you were there 10 years before that guy was there, that young guy gonna know that older guy, and that older guy gonna know that young guy. And man, if you don't mind, man, you kind of touched on a little bit the young guys that coming out of middle school, going into high school, and they only got their one track mind. I just want you to relay a message to them that can stick with them.
So you got to ask yourself, and this ain't just for the young kid, this for anybody watching. You got to ask yourself, what can you do? If you're in high school, middle school, or whatever, and you ask yourself that question, and the only thing that you could think of is sports, that ain't it. You got to have something else to add to the table. And I'm gonna use myself as an example. So in like 2017, when you was up there, I went back to Bama to see if I wanted to coach. And I realized I didn't want to coach. I didn't want to get back in the sports world. And I started asking myself that question, damn, what can I do? What skills do I actually have? And I ain't talking about what you can learn in a book, right? So I said, you know what? I want to farm, because I was living out in Cali. And in Cali, everybody know where their food come from, you know, what they put in their body, yada, yada, yada. So I started to take on that. So I said, you know what? I think I want to own my own piece of land. I want to farm, yada, yada, yada. So now I'm working on the farm. When I was working on the farm, as I'm working on the farm, I noticed it's a lot of projects that got to get done. This got to be built, that got to be repaired, and I would be lost. They'd be fixing this, doing that. Yeah, I could put a seed in the ground and bend over and plan and do all that, but they was doing all types of other stuff. I had no skills. So I said, you know what? I'm going to go back to Florida, and I got to do something. I got to learn how to read a tape measure.
Yeah. You
know what I'm saying? So that was my next step, and that's why I started building fence. And just from 2.5 years of building a fence, I can pretty much look at something and build it. So you got to ask yourself, what can you do? And too many of these kids, too many of y'all think that you got to have this, that, and the third and make a whole lot of money and go to school forever and all that. So I built fence, right? I run around with an orange shirt on. It's funny because I'll run up on somebody and be like, Glenn, what do you know how it is when somebody see y'all, they feel like they can ask you what you doing, all the personal questions of your life, right? And you ain't ask them none of that. So they were like, Glenn, what you doing? What you got doing? And I say, oh, I build fence. And they're like, oh, you own a fence company? No, I build fence. I work for a company. And they be so lost because they expect me to have all this going on just because I play football, bro. Right. Blowing my mind. For a lot of kids, for an 18-year-old person graduating high school who football or basketball might not be his route because he ain't good enough, he can go build fence and wear an orange shirt and make after taxes over $50K within 2 years. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's decent money, but it's not just that. It's a step. We were talking about the process before. You can say, and by the time I'm 20 years old, I want to make over $50K. And then I'm gonna go from there. By the time I'm 25, I'm gonna make $75K. By the time I'm 30, I'm gonna make $100K. And it's cats who leave high school and got a trade. By the time they 28, they making over $35, $40 an hour. So our kids got to have another avenue and another approach to life besides what they've been shown. What I'm getting at is it's another way.
Right.
And it's easy.
She said, Glenn, sounds like you are true to yourself. Not many people have the courage to choose their own life or overcome what other people want them to do. Hats off to you.
Appreciate it.
And man, picking back off that, man, like I remember when you first retired and I was, talking to Burns and I was like, Glenn good, coach, you're like, man, Glenn found peace. And I was just like, he found peace. He just retired, his first year. He was killing. He was at the top of his game. Frank Gore just got hurt. He balled out too. He was just like, man, he's tired of it. There was a lot of stuff going on. Football wasn't the last result for Glenn. It wasn't his first or his last result. Like that wasn't his bottom picture. Like man, he found, peace within, I know you got, closer your religion and everything. I remember like your whole story, bro, because it was like me, I was definitely a fan, but I was, also a little bro at the same time because I remember your first message to me. I'm talking about Glenn didn't talk much, y'all. Like he still don't for real. But like, we'll have our conversation. But one of his first conversations with me, that's how I knew you was going to the league. We was at the Challenger Banquet in Pensacola, and you came down to speak. It was you, Greg, and it was you, Greg McElroy, and it was somebody else from Bama. So the Challenger Banquet, y'all, is like an FCA thing. And all the teams from the SEC and really from the South come down and they speak to the FCA group. And so he came down, and afterwards, everybody know that I'm Trent Richardson up in there, and I'm the big time recruit and all this other stuff. But Glenn said this to me, and I took this and ran with it. He said, "Be ready to run this ball next year. It's gonna be on you." And like just hearing them say that, like it was more of a, I don't want to let you down. Like it wasn't much as the pressure. It was more like I gotta go, fill these shoes and make sure I make bro proud. Just like how we came back, when I speak to you, Bo, or we spoke, I speak to those kids today. Like I don't think those kids take that in consideration as, the ones that came before us. Like we try not to let these guys down. Like that's like that was my biggest thing. Like it wasn't no NIL deals. It wasn't no, it wasn't no social media out there. So for me, I was playing for different reasons. You know what I'm saying? Like I was playing for my kids. I was playing because I didn't want to let big bro down. Like that was something that you left with me. Like you left those shoes with me. You know what I'm saying? So it was for me, man. Like that pushed me a lot to get to the next level, to play as a freshman, to play all 3 years, and to get up out of there. And then for me to leave that ball in somebody else's hand like an Eddie Lacy, like I wasn't sure that I was gonna go to the league if I didn't know that Eddie Lacy was ready to take it to the next level.
Right.
What you left me with, when you left me with those keys to that ship, me and Mark, like I didn't want to put that in nobody else's hands, bro, unless they was ready. With you making peace, and I feel like you made peace within me to like, hey, LeBron, passing this on to you now. Don't mess this up.
Yeah,
we already in a good position. We done made it to the SEC championship. Now you gotta take it over that hump. Right. Like I said, man, it's just a different call for me, man. When I see Glenn and Ted Grant there, man, it's like I love the stories and stuff, man. But it's way deeper for me.
that Bama factor is just different from other schools, man. It's something special.
Glenn didn't go through the process at Bama getting recruited by Coach Burns, but Coach Burns had to catch up to his personality. He had to get equipped to Coach Burns too. So it was different. They had to grow within each other. Like Burns actually had a chance to sit in my house, sit in your house, meet your mom and them, other than just coming in there. And so when Glenn's saying this stuff to me, it was like he already know I can do this. And when I'm saying this to you, it's like I ain't never had to see you practice before. Like if Burns recruited you, when you in that running back room with us, I done heard all this stuff, but I know you can do this. I ain't asking you something that you can't do. You feel me? Like even with the boys today, like we're not asking y'all, and that's why I'm trying to get these young fellas to understand that we're not asking y'all nothing that we don't know that y'all can do. We know y'all can do it. That's why I was like, we're not saying we're mad at y'all because y'all lost or y'all lost game. We're upset about the potential that y'all do have. Yeah. We know that y'all can dig and do this because this is why our coaches, our school came and recruited y'all because they know that y'all can carry this legacy and take it to another level. Yeah, like that'd be my biggest thing. Like when Christion, like even with you, Blake, when you seen the Julio Jones come back for the game, or when you seen, even when I came back for the games, like it was a different you on the sideline. You was ready. Like I remember telling you my last year, I said, this is gonna be your team in 2 years or a year. I don't know if I said a year or 2 years, Christion.
Yeah, you said 2 years. I'll never forget.
I said it's gonna be your team in 2 years. And shit, damn sure. You were taking back punt return, you were running the whole team. Blake, and I remember that LSU game at Bow time, I said, man, take over. You looked at me, you gave me a look, you hit it down the sideline, you winked at me like, big bro. Like you ain't even had to speak it to me like, big bro. But it was like that feeling, man, like we know it's in y'all. Like we just want y'all to, dig deep and find it within yourself. One thing Burns always taught me, and Glenn too, like I can't believe more than you. I can't believe in yourself more than you do. Yeah. And sometimes it feel like we believe more in them kids than they do themselves. Sure. And I'm not saying they don't believe in themselves, but I feel like we believe in those kids way more than they really look at themselves. And when they look in the mirror and say that, man, this I've been doing this. I can do this. That's just like going in the backyard when y'all playing sandlot football, saying 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. You catching it out of bounds. You tiptoeing before you go out of bounds. It's stuff like that. We've been prepared for this moment. And so, man, when it comes to things like that, man, I just really wish those kids would take this in, like, and believe in themselves, because I'm telling you, they can do it, and I know they can do it.
I think that it just be a lot of outsiders that be up in their ear telling them different things and not buying into the system of what's going on campus and what's going on in that locker room.
Christion.
Yeah, because you gotta think about it. Like when I was at Bama, we had 9 running backs. You know what I'm saying? And the first thing somebody in the street will say, man, you need to go to Ole Miss where you can start. You need to go to Mississippi State where you can start. Nah, I'm going over here so I can compete with the best. And if I can compete with the best, I am the best. You know what I mean? Yeah, that's why if we had one player get hurt, the next player coming in just as good as the starter,
if not better. Yeah,
you know what I mean? Because we wanted to compete. We wasn't running from competition. That's what we were running to. We were running to the competition.
Christion said it best, bro. Last week, he said, "Man, when was the last time Bama was worried about anybody in that building was worried about what the fans were saying?" Right. And is that what you said, Christion? Mm-hmm. It was something next to that. And it was just like when you said that, like, damn, that took me back. Like, bro, I've never heard an outsider. I've never heard nobody outside that locker room or that coaching staff. Like, I like that brought me all the way back. Like, damn, like it's crazy because those kids are buying into that. Like they're buying into the wrong thing.
Yes.
And I guess it's the social media world, but it's just like, bro, if we do what we're supposed to do, if we follow that process, whether it's 3 years, Glenn, when 4 years when you finally started, 3 years when you finally started, or whether, even with me, I finally started my last year in school. Yeah. Like I had 1 year. Christion, when you finally started with your last year or your third
year? Yeah, my second year.
second year in school. Blake, you started your last year in school.
Yeah.
Bo, you started when?
My last year.
Everybody on here had that situation. Like,
Yeah.
so it's like today's society, like guys ain't going a year, or guys going starting 2 years and getting up out of there.
Getting about it, yeah.
These kids now, they don't want to compete. They want to come in and let it be handed to them. They don't want to get down and dirty and have that blood, sweat, and tears. That's how you bring the team together. That's why we won so many national championships, because we was out there grinding together, helping each other out, carrying each other on our back. And one person ain't making the 110, ain't nobody making it. We all running the extra one.
I think it starts at home, man. I think like it's how them parents like. I think like in the school I'm at, not just trying to talk down on them or anything. It's just they don't got no fear. They don't got no fear when it comes to their parents. They haven't really faced no adversity. They can't accept a loss. They don't know how to take that loss and turn it into a positive. So when they take that loss, they get to think like their career is over, or they feel like they got to make a reaction for them to get people to start liking them again.
Blake, I always wanted to ask you, because Bo was talking about competing. Like when you took on the scene, they really hadn't seen a play caller like you before. You know what I'm saying? Like you had your own little everything as far as the position. So I've always want to ask you, was you just like, damn, like looking around like, oh, I'm here, like this like I'm the quarterback, or was you always in the back of your head like, if I ever touch the field, they're gonna see something they never seen before?
Yeah, it was just like my favorite spot when it comes to that. It was always coming when Coach Saban just told me that I'm always worried about what other people think about me. I always knew when I got the opportunity to field, man, I was gonna make them folk know. And it was like somebody told me I'll never saw that Alabama, that just like flipped the whole switch. But it was like I knew I'm a running quarterback. But everybody that's down with me, I'm gonna go learn how to be a pro style quarterback, but I'm not gonna forget who I am.
Yeah.
When I got the opportunity, it was like, all right, because I remember telling Wayne, like, don't take that play action out.
Right.
Everybody feels like you can't do this. They feel like you shotgun. Well, put the reps in at practice.
Right.
And that's what we did. You feel me?
Justin, you had a question, didn't you?
Yeah, I got a question. Glenn, one of the things I like about this show is that, we're able to talk about all the glamorous things associated with football, but we can also go beyond the lights, right? Yeah. And one of the things that I feel like I connected with you about a couple of years ago when I interviewed you, you told me about your internal battles. And I was going through a lot at the time where things weren't going so great. I had questions on whether or not I wanted to be here, and you shared how you struggle with that too. And we're in a day and age where that's being brought out more, especially in the world of athletics. How did you find your piece, and how you talked about earlier, and how did you overcome that? And what advice do you have with these other athletes who they don't have somebody that's able to kind of guide them out of that storm like you faced?
Right. I think you can't be stagnant. I think when you start to get bored and you start to get stagnant and your mind start to slow down and you start focusing on all the negative stuff, it's easy to be under that cloud. It's easy to be under that weight, under that blanket. But I feel like you always got to be a dream chaser, because I don't care if you're happy, sad, depressed, joyous, you can always have a dream in the back of your head. And as long as you got that dream and you can take steps towards that, you'll get up out that swamp. And so that's what got me through it. Besides saying, of course, my faith, you feel me? Of course, the spirit inside of me, but beyond that, I've always had a dream in the back of my head. Even now, when I look at myself and say, damn, like I build fence as a 35-year-old father, ex-NFL player, ex whatever have you. But then I got to remind myself, I just did 5 side jobs and made $1,000 on each job, easy, $1,000 a day type stuff. Part of my dream is start my own fence company so that I can use a fence company to support the farm. On top of that, I can have a coffee shop that sells produce and food from the farm. I feel like everybody got to be a dream chaser. And your dream can't be nobody else's dream. It got to be yours.
True enough.
So that's how I got out of the depression. And whenever I find myself even going anywhere towards that direction, that I got this dream, that dream. I say, okay, let me get back to dream chasing. You know what I'm saying? So that's kind of how I deal with it.
Everybody find something else to do. Don't get caught up. Don't get stagnant. Don't get complacent. Always find something else to do. Even if you have a big corporate job, find a way to own it or find a way to start your own business. Find a way to make people or get people to work for you and your dream and not always help somebody else building theirs. And always be willing to listen and learn. The only way we can excel in life is by learning things. And it's always the things that we don't want to do or don't want to learn that we have to learn the most. So that's something that I would share with everybody, and that's something that I'm learning to do myself.
Be who you are, bro, and place yourself around people that accept you and love you for who you are. Just strive to be the best that you can be and be where your feet are at every moment. Just have that relationship with the man upstairs, man, and because that's all that matters.
We always hear we only got this one life to live, and you got to make the most of it. But in reality, we live forever. We talking about, what can somebody do in their life to better their life besides sports or besides football or whatever have you. But on the other side of that token, it'd be a lot of people out there that put too much pressure on themselves to do this and to do that and to want to be this and want to be that. But in reality, kind of like y'all was saying, like, it's really not just about you. If you can touch other people, that's a life worth living. If people just really ask themselves what they want to do, it's a lot simpler than what people think, than what we taught to believe. Find out who you is inside.
It's a great show, man. I appreciate you guys for coming on tonight, Glenn. And, man, it was a special night, man. I appreciate you for sharing your story. I appreciate you guys, man. Have a blessed night and roll tide.
Roll Tide.